Hello everybody and welcome into the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway. Live tonight with some action from the Roughneck Racing Madness Money Racing Series. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You are watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Qualifying is complete. Warm-ups just getting wrapped up. And that means that we are getting gridded and getting ready to go green for 60 laps of fast-paced, high-banking action here tonight. Let's get right down trackside and get into tonight's starting grid. Taking the pole for Dale Cup and now working with Nightmare Esports. That'll be Steve Korsek in the 27 machine. On the outside pole here tonight, starting in second, is going to be his teammate Cody Nagels. It'll be Zachary Lima back in third with Dylan Jones to his outside in fourth. Nathan Harper back in fifth with Ken McCullough Jr. in sixth. Landon Velicky starts seventh with Chris Melton back in eighth. Mike Davenport in ninth and Steve Sizemore rounding out your top 10. Brock Westmoreland, he'll start on the inside of row number 6. Dalton Steele to his outside in 12th. Back in row number 7, one of the McCullough Motorsports entries here tonight, Mark Vondell in the 59 machine. He will start from that 13th spot. On the outside of row 7, it'll be Chase Mastretta for Nightmare Esports. Mark Morton starts back in 15th with one of the series owners, James Wagner, starting back on the outside of row 8 in 16th. Teresa Spiker starts back at the 17th spot here tonight. Jason Maines to her outside in 18th. And it's going to be Matthew Patton back in the 19th spot with Quentin Steinbach in the 20th position. Moving on back to row number 11 here tonight. Jonathan Herbert for Hyper Motorsports starts on the inside with Bradley Cooper on the outside. Daniel Falkingham, one of the Coke Series drivers in the field tonight, he'll start 23rd. And it's going to be Danny Hansen back in 24th. Rounding out the field here tonight as we keep going on back. Actually got a couple more entries. Last second, it'll be Nash Brambilla 25th with Brian Hennings 26th. Christopher Carter 27th. Josh Gambro in 28th. Edward Fiedler in 29th, and Ambrose Kniebel rounding out the top 30. Pete Dillon starts in 31st, with Jackson Lapino rounding out the field. He starts in 32nd. Taking a look at your race info again. The Madness Money Racing Series, kind of recent, kind of new, maybe about a month in, but they continue to put on a lot of great races with big fields and even bigger payouts. The distance we're going to run here tonight, 60 laps in the Craftsman trucks, 60% fuel, about 20 laps in total. You do have 3 sets of tires, no fast repair, so you got to keep your truck clean. Fixed setups as always, and 3 green-white checkers. Daytona International Speedway, just 2.5, guess a little bit just under 2.5 miles in total distance. Track temp starting tonight, going to be 78 degrees. A beautiful night for racing, and an opportunity for a lot of drivers to find their first win in the Madness Money Racing Series. Here we go. Green flag is in the air. We are racing under the lights at Daytona. Lap 1 in the books as they drag race to the start-finish line. Steve Korsek leads lap 1, but he's got his teammate Zachary Lima to his inside right now. The 2 big pushers, Nathan Harper doing all the work on the inside, and it's Cody Nagels in the 6th, making it happen on the outside. The 29 of Dylan Jones, 3rd in line. And then Velicky and Davenport, a little bit of separation as they try to get organized. Zachary Lima moves up to the high side to pick up a push from his teammate. As they work down the super stretch, that cool track temp, along with, of course, the fact that it is nighttime here at Daytona, means that the grip is going to go up as long, well, I guess I should say along with speeds as well. Cooler track temp going to lead to not just more grip, but a little bit higher horsepower as well, with the air temp only being 78 degrees, 192, as they work off of turn number 4. As they cross the line this time, I thought we would have saw a little bit of 3 wide already, but that is not the case. Right now, everybody's still sorting things out, but that was a big catch right there. Zachary Lima and Steve Korsek with a big bob and weave. They keep it together. Further back, though, looking at some of these trucks here that are off the lead pack early. Not sure if these were trucks that had to potentially start the race from the pits. I think that would be kind of the assumption unless they had an issue, but we didn't get any reports of that. James Wagner And Josh Gambrone here, the two trucks that I'm looking at right now sitting towards the back. Jackson Lapino did not make it out on track, so I'm not sure exactly what happened with him. And then Chris Melton as well, another one of those R&R teammates, right now runs by himself in that 29th position. Pete Dillon, the last truck, tagged onto the lead pack, which is, again, about 29 trucks deep at the moment. And these are going to be some massive payouts that these guys are fighting for here tonight. But again, no stage break. This is all going to be about trying to time out that strategy, especially if this race goes green, which it has a possibility of doing. We've seen it in these trucks before. Zachary Lima gets another shot from his teammate. Whoa, watch out. The Ford truck trying to save it. He's going to hold on. Not without trouble, though. Further back, can they hold it? No, they don't. Field going to fly apart down the super stretch. Man, huge chaos early. We got two trucks down by the wall. Teresa Spiker, one of them. Ken McCullough Jr., the other. First caution of the night. The 8 of Chase Mastretta's in it, as is the 66 of Edward Fiedler. From what I could see, it looks like Mastretta and maybe Teresa Spiker, two of the trucks that had the worst of that damage, and Spiker has already taken it back to the pit, so she's going to have to hope that she can get repairs done pretty quick, but that could potentially put an early end to her night. I think everybody else was okay, and this is going to be a big break for a couple of those R&R teammates along with Josh Gambrone, who were not up with the lead pack. They're going to be able to catch now with this caution. Let's go back, take a look at it here, see what happens to spark this one up. And if we watch it first here, we're going to start first with the chopper view and show you what it looked like up top. I mean, it really starts, I think it's kind of what starts with this checkup up front here, and I'm trying to set up the right cam before we go for it. Okay, so here we go, and then we'll bring you back to where the actual accident starts. Watch up front here, the two teammates. You're going to see Zachary Lima and Steve Korosek. And as they come off of 2, they have some sort of issue. I'm not sure if it's a little bit of a bad push. And it looks like that may be what it is here. You see Steve pushing Zachary in the corner. And right here, Steve's got him a bit offset. So he charges up with a big run, but look at that. He's offset to the right, gives him a little shot. But that just gets the Ford truck a little out of shape, offsets him even more. And then right here, it's almost like a little bit of a mix. He's still getting hit at the same point by Korosek in the right rear, which is still turning him down a little bit. But it almost, if you watch it slow here, looks like he's getting caught by just a little bit of right front net code from Landon Veliki's truck. Notice how it's kind of staying in that position right here. Very, very interesting look. But then eventually here, Lima's actually going to straighten it out. He does a good job of that. He holds on. But all this checking up from that is going to cause some trouble here further back. The stack-up eventually gets back to Brock Westermerlin and Teresa Spiker. And as she runs into the back of Brock, she's going to get hit by the 8 machine. And that's going to turn her up into the outside wall. You see Ken McCullough Jr., Mastretta get together, and then Teresa's going to take a big shot off the inside safer barrier. Nowhere to go right there. She immediately realizes how bad the damage is as she brings it to a halt below the apron down the super stretch. And watch it right here again. Show you a couple of these different hits. There goes Ken McCullough Jr. spinning. Wow, look at that truck. Almost up and over. The 03 sets back down. Not again without pretty heavy damage for a couple. I think Ken was one of the trucks that actually gets away with this relatively unscathed. Chase Mastretta got tagged a couple times, and then Fiedler right there at the end. He's just going to have nowhere to go. He makes pretty heavy contact. And if we watch this from a bit of a different angle, this is the roll bar view for Chase Mastretta, who was right in the mix of this as well. You see the checkup. Sees the wreck. Now he's just trying to get through it. He gets hit from out back, it looks like. As he starts to slide here, already has that major left front damage. Now, when you're spinning around in the middle of the racetrack, it's going to be tough for everybody to miss you. And then right there, not a huge hit from Fiedler, but certainly enough to maybe add a little bit more suspension damage to that 8 machine. Give you a couple more looks before we go back live here. This is the view from TV3. You saw that hit for Spiker, and then watch Ken McCullough Jr. This truck gets really, really light here. Almost all the way up and over before he eventually is able to set it back down. So that was a lucky break for Ken, because with that truck sitting back down, he never made contact with the inside wall there, so that damage wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. But certainly going to cost him all of his track position early, not what he wanted. As we give you one more look here from the backstretch / turn 3 cam. There's that big hit again for Teresa Spiker there in the background. As the rest of the field scatters to miss, and most of them do. And as we go back live now up front, lights are still on the iRacing.com pace truck. Would expect him to go off this time. That should give us the 1 to green signal. And that'll set up Ambrose Kniebel as your leader. As always, one of the veterans in the terms of the fan favorite category. Ambrose has been around for a long time. He's got the Christmas scheme on tonight. The driver out of Gold Bar, Washington. And if I had to guess, I would take a pretty good bet that Ambrose has got a beer in his hand right now. he gets ready to go back green for this race. We'll see what he can do, though, as he'll have Nathan Harper on his outside. Zachary Lima going to line up back in the 3rd spot with Landon Veliky in 4th. Steve Korsak in 5th. Mike Davenport 6th. And then it's Cody Nagels in 7th with Steve Sizemore 8th. Dylan Jones in 9th. Dalton Steele currently rounding out the top 10. By the way, Dalton Steele, another one of those James Wagner's Welding / R&R boys running here tonight. And by the way, of course, the 2 main sponsors for the new R&R series is James Wagner's Welding. If you have any welding needs and you're in the area, maybe even if you're not in the area, I'm not sure how remote they go. Either way, make sure you check them out. You'll see it scrolling on the top right of your screen with the phone number there for you. Make sure you check them out. 336, I believe it's 670-3427. My eyesight is not as good as it should be for a 21-year-old, but if I read it right, it looks like it's what it says. Nonetheless, though, as we do get ready to go back green flag racing, I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat here tonight. We appreciate everybody tuning in, whether you're just tuning in or you've been sticking around. That you are having a good Wednesday night, Wednesday evening, as we get ready for some PGR action tomorrow, kind of a continuation of the action that we're seeing so far here tonight. So we are looking forward to that. Of course, continuing to gear up for the PGR 500. And again, by the way, I did check to make sure we have it right. The James Wagner's Welding phone number, if you need to write it down, 336-670-3427. Again, main sponsor of the R&R Madness Money Racing Series. All right, so here we go. Pace truck going to make the left turn, and we are ready to get back to racing. 7, going to be 8 laps complete as they work back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And we are back racing at the World Center of Racing. Ambrose Kniebel gets a good restart. He'll lead the jump. Nathan Harper on the outside. This will be a battle of which lane could get organized first. This is Ambrose's first shot here tonight in the lead. He's going to have to get ready for a whole lot of pushing out back from Zachary Lima. If Korsak or Lima get a chance to jump up, watch for them to do so. Veliky wants to get Harper clear so that he can get a chance to lead some laps of his own here tonight. Still 2 by 2 down the super stretch. You can see some of the field sitting further back right now, just taking it easy. Not everybody feeling like they're ready to push the issue. By the way, it was Mark Morton, one of the trucks that we saw involved in that last incident. Doesn't look like a lot of damage for the 8 truck, though. He continues to roll out as now we're going to get a 3rd lane work in here. Just 1 truck, though, for the moment. It's one of the PGR eSports teammates. Nash Brambilla, as he looks high, will anybody else try to go with him? Ooh, Davenport thought about it, but as that 01 of Harper gets clear to the bottom, Davenport's going to decide to stick with the 62 of Veliky for now. For Landon Veliky, starting to hear that name more and more. He's starting to find ways to win in some of the big series. He's got it done in PGR. Now he wants to get one in R&R. Davenport either peeking for air or really considering a lookout here with his teammate. And that PGR eSports group on the outside is going to grow just a little bit here because Brock Westmoreland is going to tag up with the 23 and Nash Brambilla. They're going to also pick up the 49 of Chris Melton. And man, these cooler track temps we talked about, it's going to increase grip and increase speed, but maybe one of the downsides of it, if you will, is it makes it a whole lot tougher to make this 3rd lane work. Really, the only way to beat that, when you have cooler track temps, of course, the bottom's going to roll better. The only way to beat that if you're up top is you just got to push even more aggressive through the corners, down the straights. You cannot get unlinked, which you see this 3rd lane's having a little bit of trouble with right now, but they are grabbing a side draft on that middle line. That pulls Davenport, Lima, and Korsak apart from each other. That little bit of a gap's going to give them all they need to now draw even with the 62 of Veliky. If either one of them get clear before turn 3, will they take it? It's not going to matter. They're not going to get it here. Now they finally will, as boy, aggressive move from Veliky. That'll allow Brambilla to jump down to the middle now. Harper goes to the lead pushing position. You see Ambrose Kniebel and that 04 machine drifting up just a little bit. Nathan Harper, he won't be at bay for too long. He'll now move back up to the middle line. He receives a push from Brambilla. So we are now 11 of 60 laps complete. And by the way, keep that fuel window in mind. About 20 laps. Maybe a couple more is what we think they can go. If they could stretch it to even 22 laps, that'd be saving a pretty good amount. You still can't make it on a 1 stop. So at this point in the race, we're still expecting 2 stops from each one of these drivers. Another truck going to go up to the high side. This time it's the 41 of Dalton Steele. He's going to join his R&R teammate, the 49 of Chris Melton, as now Veliky, he'll make a move back to the high side yet again. And so while this 3rd lane has only really been viable about once, that was for Brambilla when the middle had that checkup. we are certainly seeing a lot of shuffling and a lot of lead changes here from these middle two lines. I guess I should say the inside and the middle line. So we'll go back and hop on board here with Cody Nagels in the number 6 machine. Driver out of Rolla, Missouri. Got himself a solid run going so far here tonight. Down a few spots from where he qualified at, but kind of running on the inside of all this chaos. Not exactly too many places for him to go at the moment. Saw that double zero, or rather the single zero in the middle of the racetrack. And man, this is just getting sketchier and sketchier as we continue to watch some of the onboard views. But as we go back to now the TV camera views, 3 wide, and even for the lead up front, Brock Westmoreland trying to go to the point as Veliky's going to drop to the bottom. Man, Christopher Melton, he is pushing for all he is worth right now. He just doesn't quite have enough to get this 28 truck of Brock Westmoreland clear. And the problem is, every time he makes these big surges, these big pushes, he gets really, really hot. The engine temps under that race truck get to a point where if he doesn't cool off, he's going to blow the motor. And so he's just got to tell Brock, listen, if you get it, take it. And if not, we're just going to have to back it up, let me cool off a little bit, and then we'll try it yet again. But this third lane has been persistent enough, and the longer they stick around, seems like the more takers they're starting to get. But now there's some separation all of a sudden in the middle of this group as Ambrose, whoa, man. The 04 jumps off track. They're going to fan out 4 wide here with the apron as they go around Ambrose Kniebel back down to 3 wide, though, before they get to the turn. No harm, no foul there. That was another kind of close moment, though. You get nervous even if you got a truck on the apron. Oh, watch out, Davenport. Hold on to it. The 55 out of shape. Can Mike Davenport save it? He does. The field's going to split him as everybody's going to go around, but what a save that was from Mike Davenport. It looked like he was getting ready to wreck. Instead, he saves it. So Davenport's going to have to fall all the way back to right around where Quentin Steinbach runs. I saw Quentin, he had a big run in that 22 machine. He says, yeah, I'm not waiting for you. I'm going to take it. The 22 is going to get that spot. Nice move by Quentin Steinbach. But for Mike Davenport, we didn't get any data of a major issue, but it was a major save. So we're going to back this up just one time now and show you exactly what this looked like here for Davenport. Watch this here. This is going to be kind of in the middle of 3 and 4. It's just an odd angle. And right here, again, it almost looks again like he gets caught in some sort of right rear net code here off of the 9 truck up on the bottom. Watch this. We're going to go to the chopper view one more time. Watch the 55. Watch how he's not hitting anybody, but it's almost like he's just going to start getting hooked to the left. Right there. See how they're like stuck. They're like stuck together. It's just turning the 55 to the left. I'm not sure what that is. I think that's just some sort of right front net code. Again, off the 9 truck right there. Certainly something that we do not see often. It's a very, very odd look, but man, that's about the only explanation that I have for it right now. Either way, close call, but seems like things worked out pretty well right there. So that was Christopher Carter, by the way, that I believe he had a little bit of netcode with right there. And for Carter, he seems to be okay. No major issues for him. So as we do get back up front and live, they are still 3 by 3. I mean, I know we got a couple pit stops, but man, you wouldn't know it watching these guys race right now. Looks like we're coming to 5 laps to go. We've only completed, in reality, 16 of 60 laps in this race so far. Looks like they're going to be coming up on one of the lappers. I think it's going to be Ken McCullough Jr. here. Again, lost all that track position. I'm a little surprised to see the 03 start back. From what we could see, Ken didn't have any damage. But as he goes onto the apron here, watch out. A couple other trucks going to scatter to the apron as well. Ken trying to find a spot to jump up. And looks like he will be able to do so as they get into turn 3. He'll get up behind the 12 along with a couple others here. I'm not trying to figure out exactly who this was to the back that he just was able to jump in line behind. By the way, how about shout out to Brian Hennings here tonight in the 74 machine for VRX, Team VRX. And it's just behind Ambrose Kniebel. There's Daniel Falkingham running the 88 Mountain Dew scheme tonight. Danny Hansen in the 32. Bradley Cooper in the 5 truck. He's up a spot from where he started this race at. And then Pete Dillon, one of your biggest movers, he's up 11 spots from where he started this race at. And your biggest mover inside the top 10 and biggest mover overall is Nash Brambilla in 4th. He is up 21 positions. Where he started this race, had trouble. 2 around on the backstretch. Steve Korsek's going to go around. Brambilla catches air. They're going to continue wrecking here up front as Melton gets turned. The 29 of Dylan Jones is in the grass. Brambilla comes to a halt. I think everybody else is going to be able to get back moving. You see Mark Von Dell just going to come to a halt here. Wants to make sure he doesn't get any damage. Brambilla back to a slow roll. it looks like he will be able to at least limp this truck back to the pits. Chris Melton trying to do the same. Looked like he was struggling a little bit to get that truck rolling, but he's got it going now. So let's go back and see what happens here to bring out your second caution of the night. This is going down the super stretch, and I just turned a little bit to look at some data, and all of a sudden saw somebody get turned out of line, and then it was on from there. Let's see, where does this start? Is this going to be another one that happens relatively up front? Right there. Ooh. And that's going to kind of start a little bit as a byproduct of this move that Nathan Harper makes, and in Harper's fairness here, he didn't do anything wrong. He's cleared. He's trying to go for the lead, so Harper says, I got to run. I'm going to take it. And as Harper jumps up right there, it's close, but he's clear. Steve going to try to size him up here for a push right there. And I'm not sure from that view if Steve, it doesn't look like he gets pushed from out back, but if he does, that could explain what shot him down. But, I mean, from right here, you can see Brock's not quite touching him right there. I think Steve's going to just try to make a move to the inside. At least that's my initial guess. If that is the case, not clear. He gets into Quentin Steinbach and wrecks on from there. He's going to send the 22 down into the 23 of Brambilla. And once that sends Brambilla up the track, it's on. Watch this here. You're just going to see them all start wrecking all over the place here. There's Brambilla catching air. Here's that second wreck. And, ooh, it's a rough run for a couple of R&R teammates. James Wagoner and Chris Melton both get involved in that. But try to get a little bit of a straighter shot at it here for you. Watch Brambilla here. But for Steve Korsek, and maybe before we actually look at any of these angles, maybe we should see if we can get an onboard view here with Steve Korsek, because it looked to me like he may have made that move, but if we look at his steering input here, it'll be kind of the best way to tell the story is there's Harper goes up. It really looks to me there like Steve tries to make a move. I wonder if he didn't realize that Steinbach was down there, or if he just thought the run was going to be too big and felt like he had to make a move. I'm just not sure. Again, I mean, I know it's, in different views. Maybe it's an aggressive block. Maybe it's just a good move. I mean, he was clear, so you can't put it fully on Harper. Like I said, it's just, I wonder if Steve didn't realize they were 3 wide. That's kind of the best guess that I can have at it right now. Then once this starts, I mean, first of all, that was a heck of a save after the fact for the 27 of Korsek, along with Christopher Carter there. I think that was in the 9. He had a heck of a save as well. A couple trucks did a really, really nice job right there. Saving it to keep it together. Unfortunately for some of the trucks involved, I think, just trying to figure out exactly who it was that got sent down to the inside and if they hit anything. I think it might have been the 6 of Nagels here. Let's see. Yeah, right there. There's the 22 of Steinbach and Nagels. They both get turned. Cody goes for a wild ride. Right as he hits that grass, you see that truck start to lift up. And he's going to clip the bus stop strip, get a little more air. It's also, looks like, was that Dalton Steele, I believe? Does he hit the inside wall? Ooh, he does. Looked like initially there Dalton Steele was going to miss it. Unfortunately, he does not. Watch it from this view. He sees everybody getting turned around. He's going to go for a ride himself here. Just not able to miss this inside wall. Pretty big hit right there. So tough break again for a lot of drivers. We've seen a couple, not really egregious mistakes, but a couple so far here tonight that have led to a few of these incidents. And this one going to go down as another one of them. But again, very, very lucky. It didn't take out more than it did. And there's a lot of trucks that were in this that didn't necessarily have race ending damage. I think they'll be able to continue. As we'll give you one more look here. This is going to be from the zoomed in shot for Cody Nagels. Second truck we've had tonight catch air. Watch this. Big time air too for Nagels. As that truck gets turned around, starts to catch the back end, but quickly able to set back down. And tell you what, iRacing has done a really good job with the newest damage model update. I think they kind of finally hit the sweet spot. But if you remember back to when they first changed this update, it was more so set up to where as soon as a truck turned around, I mean, they immediately just flipped all the way over. Now it's more so, you got to have a little bit more of a perfect circumstance where the truck gets turned around pretty quickly while it's still at a high enough speed. And it's got to get turned around, not quite all the way backwards, but at a pretty 90-degree angle at least perpendicular to, say, the outside wall or the inside wall, have a chance of ultimately flipping over. All right, so back up front we go. And lights are off on the pace truck as we get ready to go back green. Nathan Harper on the outside, Zachary Lima on the inside, as we are officially a third of the way through this race. Brock Westmoreland back in row 2 with Quentin Steinbach, who is now up 16 spots where he started this race at. Both of those trucks in row number 2 with some damage. For Mike Davenport making that great save, he's still got himself in good position. And just behind him, Christopher Carter, who also had a great save during that last incident. 29 to Dylan Jones behind him. Mark Morton, James Wagner. And then that's the 62 of Veliky on the apron, maybe saving a little fuel. Jason Maines, good to see him back in the field here tonight. We've been seeing him start to come back around a little bit more as of recent. Jason has been going through a lot, so again, we're glad to see him whenever we can. That's all right. Here we go. Will we have a chance to see a green flag pit stop? It would set us up for a 1 stop now. So here we go. Let's see what happens. Zachary Lima will lead him back. Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air at Daytona. And it's a good restart for the 4 of Zachary Lima. He gets the better jump, but it looks like the outside may get the earlier help. Quentin Steinbach quickly to the back bumper to give aid and a push to the 01 of Nathan Harper. We'll see if they tune down the aggression just a little bit now after what we have seen so far here through the first 20 laps. Lima with a big push. What will he do? He saw Harper split him earlier. Will he try to go back up to this high side, or will he commit to the inside for now? Well, looks like he's just going to stay in line for the moment. Doesn't want to make that jump out. That'll even him back up as they work down the super stretch into turn number 3. And really, I think if you're Quentin Steinbach here, a driver who I don't believe works with any teammates, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he's one of the guys who kind of comes in here, runs by himself. And I'll tell you what, I give a lot of props to the drivers that still do that. It is a tough thing to do in this day and age of money racing. If you don't have a team, it is a really, really tough running here, because you know that everybody is hungry to just help themselves and help their teammates. If it comes down to the end, and you've got 4 teammates that aren't your teammates stacked up behind you, it can put you in a very, very vulnerable position. So again, good to see Quentin having this good run. Out to impress here tonight. But the point I was getting ready to make is, if you're Quentin Steinbach here, I think the only thing you really focus on right now is just try to learn. Do some pushing. You're in a great spot here. If Harper gets clear, there's a chance he jumps down. So his only job right now is just push this 01 to the best you can. Don't think about splitting them, and learn how to manage these temps a little bit. Again, I'm not sure how good Quentin is at these super speedways, because he's kind of recent to the money racing scene. But you've got to manage temps. Even with the cooler track temp, that truck will eventually get hot. And you want to make sure that you're kind of managing it to a degree where you can still keep Harper out front if you're that 22 truck, but also not overheat yourself trying to do so. Further back, third lane starting to develop. Looks like it's going to be the 32 machine of Danny Hansen trying to make something happen. And he may get a little bit more help here. Whoa, man, Steve Sizemore was coming with the run. Cody Nagels is going to fill in the gap, though, before he gets there. And that's not going to stop there. They're going to get a couple more takers now. Looks like the 8 of Morton. He's going to now make that jump to the outside line. Can Mark get a run? Ooh, watch out. That was another close call. I think, was that Christopher Carter? Yes, it was. He thought about going up. Had to think twice about it. And whoa, man, Steve Sizemore. Now Daniel Falkingham start to bang doors right there, coming out of 4. I just think that no fast repair, if you're not inside the top 5, top 10 right now, I'm doing what everybody back here is doing. I'm just taking it easy again. We still have a lot of laps, and these trucks, you can stay in the draft from pretty far back. The 41 of Dalton Steele, still with some pretty significant left front damage. You see, in fact, that left front fender is ripped off of that race truck at the moment. So Dalton right now just hoping for another caution that he's not in, so he can go in and get some more of that damage fixed up. Meanwhile, at the front here, 2x2 for the first couple rows, and then 3 wide. With the 12 machine now trying to make something happen. This is the first time on the outside we've seen Jason Maines try to go to the point. He's got some help from Christopher Carter and Mark Morton. Steve Korosek looks to be there as well. He's trying to aid the forward progress of this outside line, if you will. And that next fuel stop we would expect to be, it's going to be cutting it close for 1 stop, but it should be doable as long as you go in probably right about lap 40. That's going to be, again, about 15 laps or so from now. Be going just a little bit later, a little bit sooner, depending on what kind of fuel mileage you can make on this stop. But you certainly don't want to lead too many laps if it's going to cost you from making the fuel mileage that you need to here for this first stop. So we'll see what they do, because it is the same leader in that middle line. Zachary Lima led the inside for a while. Now he's in the middle. Jason Maines, though, what a push from Christopher Carter. Just about able to get that 12 truck clear. Jason may have had it for a split second, but it just wasn't quite enough for him to jump down. Man, that was a heck of a push, though, from the 0 machine rather than the 9 truck of Chris Carter. One around, huge hit for the 49 of Melton. That's Josh Gambron, rather. Caution back out. We had a couple spin down to the inside, but Gambron takes a massive hit off the outside safer barrier. And the 49 may be junk here. Let's see. Is the truck still running? It is. And I'm not sure how after we go back and look at the replay of the hit Gambron just took right there, coming down the short chute off of turn 4. Now puts us under your third caution here before we have even gotten to the halfway point in this race. So the aggression continues. That question got answered real quick. Let's watch it here first. Go to the TV3 view. You see Josh Gambron here. He's on the inside line as they're coming out of 4. And just another situation there of really not clear. I'm not sure if he got loose from a push out back and was trying to still hold on to it. It didn't really look that way, but it was a little interesting the way the 49 was wiggling around here off of the corner. We'll go back and watch it from the chopper view next. So you see the 32 right there hanging around the middle, not really doing anything here, just kind of everybody's just kind of minding their own. I think Gambron was doing the same. By the way, that was Danny Hansen here on the outside, and watch as they come off the corner here. There's a brief gap right behind Landon Velke in the 62 in front of the 32 as well. Gambron right here maybe gets a little loose. I think that's just kind of him riding the line. And then right here, looks like he thinks about making that move up, hesitates, and then goes to finish that move off. But at that point, the 32 of Danny's there. And, I mean, for Hansen, he even tries to let off, but just not enough time. When things happen that quick, I think that's just a little bit of indecisiveness, if you will, right there from Josh Gambron. And let's see here. If we watch it back to the gearbox view here, and again, this is going to be for Josh Gambron. Watch a little bit of a hesitation here. In fact, we'll go to his cockpit view first. See if we can get you a bit of a better angle. All right, so watch his hands here. So it looks like initially there it may have been a correction to the truck, but then that second move of the wheel looks like it was him trying to maybe sneak in the middle right there. But it's a tough call. It's either him trying to move up to the middle or, again, him still trying to correct the truck. I think he was trying to make that move to the middle and just wasn't quite clear. Maybe didn't realize it. I mean, it was really, really close, but just not quite there. And once he gets turned around, look at this. Another big, big hit to the outside wall. Back of the truck lifts up. By initially there for a split second, thought he was going to fly into the catch fence. Gets lucky there. And then for the 32, Danny Hansen here, he slides down the pits. Good save for Danny as well right there. Does a nice job of keeping it straight. Steve Sizemore. See those two rocketing down the pits, but don't get any damage. That's the advantage of taking that pit line. Unfortunately, they will get black flags that'll send him to the back as a result of doing so, but I think that that's got to be a bit of a better option in this case than what it could have been, the way that looks. So we'll play this again. I'm going to play it all the way through the corner this time, so I want to see how this develops here. And watch this all from the gearbox view here of Josh Gambron. Watch the truck wiggle and then watch the commitment. There's the wiggle, and there's the commitment. It's turned around, and the rest is history. One more view here from the pit lane cam. Big, big hit for Josh Gambron. We've seen a couple of guys taking big shots here tonight. Steve Korsek did a good job of checking up enough there to not hit the 49 once he had already spun. You see the grass flying everywhere. All right, so as we go back live now to set ourselves up for the next restart, 27 of 60 laps complete. Getting closer to that halfway point in the race. We'll see if the lights on the pace truck go off this time. And it looks like they do. So we'll get the 1 to go signal right here. And as we get ready to get back to green flag racing, your top 5 are as follows. Zachary Lima still leads the way. Nathan Harper second with Mike Davenport back in third. Dylan Jones fourth and Landon Velke currently rounding out your top 5. Couple more announcements to be made here. First of all, I want to talk a little bit about what the payouts are looking like for this race here tonight. I think this was initially based off of, I believe it was 45 entries, so it's not going to quite come as strong as what it was, but it's still going to be pretty high payouts. Now, R&R is starting a new championship series that I believe is going to start on January 8th. Yep, that's correct. It's going to be I think it's a 9-race playoff series format. Yep, sure enough, 9-race playoff format. Top 5 will get points payouts. And the championship has already been completely sponsored. The top 5 points payouts for that championship series is going to be $550 to first. $350 to second, $250 to third, $200 to fourth, and $150 to fifth. So some really, really good payouts for that championship series. But as for here tonight and what drivers are going to be racing for, what it was initially based off was $325 to first, $250 to second, 225 to third, 180 to fourth, and 165 to fifth. I would take a pretty good guess, though, with the amount of drivers that we have. It would still be probably not quite 300 for first, pretty close to it. Close to 200 for second, maybe just a little bit under for third, maybe around 150, a little under that for fourth, and right around 100 for fifth. That would be my general guess with the amount of drivers we have, but again, not exact, but you get the idea. It was a $27 entry, and you can do 27 times the amount of trucks that we have in the race here tonight. And that'll give you a pretty good idea of just how much money is in the pot.
Green.
All right, green flag back in the air. 29 is 60 laps complete. Now they stack it up a little bit here on the outside. They all keep it together, but all that stacking up opened up some opportunities for a couple of drivers to get up really, really quickly right after we crossed the start-finish line closer to the front. Landon Velicki was one of those. He took advantage of it. He now moves himself to fourth on the outside line. Zachary Lima leads the inside. Mike Davenport just behind him is, looks like the 49 there. Josh Gamro is going to peel off to the apron here down the super stretch. I wonder if it's the damage or if he's just trying to get out of the way for now. Either way, Fiedler and Ken McCullough Jr. are going to tandem up. They'll scoot by him. The 87 of Jonathan Herbert on the inside as well. Zachary Lima, he gets another massive shove through 3 and 4. He's still out front. Can Mike Davenport potentially get an opportunity to jump up for himself? Not this time. His teammate Brock Westmoreland starts to push the 01 back even with your leader. We are now officially 30 laps through a 60-lap event. By the way, that translates to right around, I believe, 150 miles. Yeah, sure enough, 60 times 2 gives you 120 plus another half of 60, 30. 150 miles the total distance. We are now 75 through. You see Ambrose Knievel there a little bit further back. Brian Hennings now continuing to move his way back to the field. He's up 14 spots from where he started this race at. But here we go. Third lane's going to get working. Now you've got a couple of teammates that are going to do some work together right here. Cody Nagels and Steve Korsek working that high side. Will anybody else try to jump up? Yes, they will. It's going to be the 12 of Jason Maines. And as he works to the high side, looks like further back, Brent Billa's going to jump up now as well. And the more takers you get, the quicker that line is going to make progress. And as it stands right now, they've got help from in total 4 trucks as you see them working just above the motorhomes there that are on the infield through turn 1 and 2. As they get onto the backstretch, this is pretty much what you would see at the end of the race, but we are still seeing it with over half, actually just about half the race left to go as Zachary Lima back up to the middle, and that will prevent that 12 of getting clear unless Korsek can give him enough of a push to get there. Not quite. It was a heck of an effort, but the 27 used up that momentum. Now they're going to have to regroup and try it again. How about Mike Davenport now leading the bottom? A Little Guys Series champion and a PGR eSports driver. Davenport, another one who gets, I think, a little bit, not enough credit to his name, if you will. Davenport, easily one of the cleanest drivers in the series, one of the best pushers, and one of those guys who, if you need a teammate, always going to be reliable. He finds himself up front in the right times, and right now he finds himself in good position at the moment. Still 3x3 as they work down the super stretch. That third lane still has help from Steve Korsek and Cody Nagels, but Nash Brambilla has since decided to drop back out of it. See the 88 of Daniel Falkingham now making some noise on the inside as well as the 4 machine of Lima. It's just, I mean, you know, for 2 guys, and don't get me wrong, Lima and Korsek definitely veterans, but they've been out of it for a little while, and they've only come back as of recent, and you would have never known that they missed a race. I mean, Lima has been getting pushed about as hard as anybody could push him here tonight. And he is holding on to that truck very, very nicely. Keeps himself in good positioning here. With 33 of 60 laps complete. And if you're Jason Maines up top here, you know that Steve's trying to cool down, set you up for another big run. And it's always interesting. It seems like the further back you are, the bigger the run is. But then once it dies out, it almost feels like one of those lanes has to fall back a little bit before somebody's going to get momentum. When they just stay side by side like this, it almost feels like a gridlock, where no matter how hard you push, none of the lanes seem to be able to get the advantage. That's how it's being right now for most of these trucks. The longer they stay 3 wide, the harder it's going to be for anybody to get up here and try to gain any sort of position. But we do still have that pit stop left, expecting it now to be a little bit closer to right around lap 50 or so. Is one in the wall. That's going to be the 22 of Quentin Steinbach. 2 trucks are in it. Caution will come back out. Looks like the other one involved is going to be the 3 machine of Matthew Patton. Patton's going to roll on. He's okay. For Quentin Steinbach, though, he does have some significant right front damage. Good news is that he was able to at least drive that truck away. Gotta hope that he doesn't have any suspension damage here. That'll make it a bit of a tougher fix. So Steinbach looks like is able to get back rolling for now. Let's go back and see what brings out your 4th yellow of the night here. This is coming out of the tri-oval down the short chute. Go first here to the zoomed in view. This might give us a pretty good angle of exactly what happens here to Steinbach. Is he just going to get hit out back here from Matthew Patton? I believe he is. And in fact, to see that, we'll go to the chopper view. Watch the 3 truck. Going to be about 5th back in line on the outside. And right here, ooh, fire out of the pipe. So yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen here. So there's a brief checkup up front. And we'll play this full speed for you here. But there's going to be a brief checkup. Maybe Corsac just needing to cool. Or a little bit of an offset right there. That brief checkup gets back to Patton. And he ultimately gets into the 22 as Steinbach. Gets the 22 out of shape and turns. Putting Steinbach into that outside safer barrier. I don't think Patton gets too bad of damage. Certainly Steinbach getting the worst of that one. But nothing he could obviously do. Watch it again here from the zoomed in view. Bam. There's that big hit. Similar to what we've seen a couple times here tonight. That truck initially started to get light. Then ultimately just kind of snowplows his way down the turn 1 outside safer barrier until he eventually slides back down the racetrack. He's able to get that mellow yellow Toyota Tundra back rolling. He should still have a shot at it. That's going to probably be a couple minutes worth of damage, but these trucks are resilient enough to where he can fix that. Like I said, at least still have a shot. Give you just a couple more angles of it here before we go back live. Watch it one more time here from the turn 1 entry view. This will give you a pretty good shot. That 22, bam. There's the hit. All right. So as we go back live again, that was your 4th caution of the night. It's going to draw in some pit stops here for fuel. Although I don't believe anybody's good to make it to the finish just yet. It might be relatively close, though. So we'll have to see how they decide to line up when they come back out. We're going to go ahead and take our first break of the night. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us here at Daytona.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Have created our own drink company. The fastest growing sports drink in history.
We won't run! We won't run!
Ladies and gentlemen, we got Alan.
The monkey is prime!
This season, we are hydrated.
The official sports drink of the UFC. It's time! Oh, that's good.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. 3x3. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it Talladega.
Welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, Roughneck Racing's Madness Money Racing Series. We are under caution here, fourth one of the night. 24 laps to go. It'll be 23 as we grab the green flag right here and lights are off on the truck. It means that we are getting ready to go back to green flag. And up front, you've got Nathan Harper on the inside, Steve Korsek on the outside, row 2, Jason Maines and Dylan Jones, with Zachary Lima rounding out your top 5. 23 laps to go. We talked about this being really, really close on fuel. It's going to be very interesting to see what drivers decide to kind of stay in line and try to save versus what drivers try everything they can to stay up front, maybe push the pace so that everybody else cannot save fuel. All right, here we go. Pace truck's going to make the left turn. We'll watch this restart from the blink cam as the field approaches the Geico restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. 23 laps to go at Daytona, and it's a good restart for the outside line. Steve Korsek gets the early surge, but Harper's got enough help from Jason that they will not be able to get clear by the time they get down towards turn number 1. They stay side by side. Everybody stacking up out back. And remember, it takes these trucks probably about 3/4 worth of a lap to get up to full pace. So this is really where you have a lot of opportunities to try to make a move if you want. Guys are stacking up. As you see Christopher Card there a little bit further back, jump down to make sure he gets a good push from the 74, Brian Hennings. Into turn 3, Korsek still with the slight advantage. Did not have enough, though, to get pushed clear down the super stretch that time. And again, with how close we think it is on fuel, I think that they were probably realistically about 2 to 3 laps shy. If you're way in the back here, though, and you're saving, which I know a couple drivers, just kind of off the top of my head, that if they felt like they can make it on fuel, you're going to know. We'll hop on board with one of them here, and I think it's Ken McCullough Jr., who, if they felt like they could make it on fuel, at least if they had to save to do so, he'd be one of the drivers doing it. You can see on the throttle tracing there on the bottom right of your screen, that blue arc represents the throttle input. When it is blue all the way from left to right, he is putting in maximum throttle right now, so he is not saving much. You know, of course, he is utilizing that draft to try to catch the field. 193 for Ken McCullough Jr. right there as he got to the end of the super stretch. Speed's going to be even a little bit higher than that as we get towards the front. In fact, let's see what some of the top pushers are able to produce here for these lead trucks. Jason pushed on the inside about 192 there as they got into the tri oval. Watch what these speeds are going to be here before they get down towards turn number 1. Can they cap out at 193 for Steve Korsek? The answer is yes, he can. We've seen speeds of closer to 196, 197 for some of the trucks that have been pulling a big draft at some points in this race. Up top, we got a couple guys that are trying to move their way forward. One of them is Danny Hansen in 32 machine. He's trying to work his way to the front on that third lane. Problem is he cannot seem to really find any help to do so right now. Hansen, see if Mark Morton wants to jump out with him, but not yet. Now they go back to side by side. Looks like a little bit further back right there. The 5 of Bradley Cooper is trying to go with him. For Bradley, no help behind for him either. And that third, I guess I should say that attempt at a third lane is going to quickly go to die. And they'll have to regroup and try it again. Either way, 19 laps to go when we cross the line next time. And so we are now officially within that fuel window. So if we have another pit stop or if we get another caution at this point, everybody would be good to go to make it on fuel the rest of the way. Still a little bit unsure of exactly what their fuel count is looking like for the trucks here. It's either going to be a guaranteed pit stop or they're definitely good to go. There's really no in between because nobody's saving right now. I wouldn't rule out that pit stop just yet. Third lane ready to get going now. They're going to have some help. Cody Nagels made the move up. Christopher Carter followed. And they're going to get even more assistance here from the 74 and the 23. That's Brian Hennings and Nash Brambilla. Further back, now the 49. Chris Melton, he's going to jump up. Along with the 8 of Mark Morton. He wants to try to make some noise. Now it is officially 19 laps to go. Going to get another taker. Steve Korsek from the lead pushing position. It's going to jump to the high side here in front of his teammate Cody Nagels. And for Nightmare Esports, oh man, big push right there. Coming off of turn 2, does Nagels have enough momentum to push the 27 of Steve Korsek clear? If you're going to do it, this is where you're going to do it. Big run. Harper goes up to the middle. That might stack him up a little bit, but it's also going to help from getting that third lane clear. I think if you're Jason Maines right there, that may have been your best friend if you did not want Steve Korosek in front of you. But now he's going to have to push Nathan Harper for all it's worth. And will Harper make a move up to that third lane or go back to the bottom if he gets clear? If not, he's going to have Nightmare Esports drivers on his inside and his outside. That is not his teammates. Harper, I don't know if he's working with anybody here tonight. Man, the pushing and shoving continues to pick up and just gets more and more aggressive as each lap goes by. You know it's only a matter of time here before something gives again. It's just going to be a question of when. Even with that no fast car, we still see a lot of trucks running in this race. As a matter of fact, all the way back to 29, Josh Gambron, who is not with the lead pack, but still running on the racetrack, and I believe currently on the lead lap. We can confirm that on the scoring tower when it comes around next time. And then for Pete Dillon, Teresa Spiker, and Jackson Lapino, all out of the race and being scored officially in those last 3 positions, at least for the moment. Steve Korosek still looking for a big push up top, but just does not quite seem to have enough to get back in front of the 01 of Nathan Harper. Mike Davenport trying to assist this inside line, the third truck in line, and if you're Zachary Lima and you get cleared, you jump up to the middle? I think you do, and sure enough, there he goes. Will Harper try to split? Not right there. It's a little bit offset push. Harper has to catch it to try to give him a better one. And another close call. It's a little bit riskier when you try to make that jump to the next lane through the corners. But they make it work that time. Nobody has any problems. Nobody has any issues. And so we will keep it green. Here comes the field roaring through turn 3 and 4. When they cross the line this time around, they will see 16 laps to go. Brock Westmoreland, he now makes his jump to the front of the field as we take you along our drone cam. As the field works into the trioval now. 16 laps to go here at Daytona. A lot of money still on the line and still some questions about fuel mileage. If you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here. You picked a good time to do so. 4 cautions up to this point. I don't think we've seen the last of them, at least not yet. Brock Westmoreland, though, with a big opportunity. He's looking for his first R&R win, and he's got a shot at it here tonight. Now he's going to drop back down in front of his teammate, Mike Davenport. That's PGR eSports, 1-2 on the bottom. Nightmare Esports, 1-2 on the top. And Zachary Lima, who leads the way. That's a Nightmare Esports driver, but he'll go back to the bottom now. That was what Jason Maines needed. Gave him an opportunity to cool his temps a little bit. And now for Nathan Harper here, he just sits and awaits another push. Did Brock have enough momentum to get clear in front of the 1? Not quite. Maybe gave it a thought, but didn't quite have enough to make anything happen as they now approach the 49 of Josh Gambro. That'll be to put him officially a lap down. Gambron going to immediately take it to the apron. He wants to stay well out of the way of all these drivers. That's a very veteran and respectful move right there for Gambron. Now Jason's going to take another move. Whoa, watch out. Jason not clear. They're trying to save it. 3 wide as the field's going to scatter here. Can they all hold on? They're trying to reorganize. I think they do. Oh my goodness, what a save that was. Jason Maines made the move to the top. Looked like he may have went just a little too high, and if you're going to make it, got to be perfect. Let's see here. Did he? I think he does just a little bit. It's not much, but again, when you make these quick moves, you've got to be pinpoint. You've got to line up exactly where that run's coming from. And let's see here. Does Steve adjust? I don't think so. Like I said, I think Jason maybe moves up just a touch too high right here. Steve's lined him up for a push at the last second. You see Jason start to maybe move up a little bit more. And so that ends up offsetting Steve just a little bit. But man, watch this save again from TV1. Look at this. Right here, this should be a wreck. Steve's now fully offset on Jason. Starts to hook him. Jason's going to save it while somehow keeping it out of the door of Nathan Harper. And then the rest of the field has to all scatter to the apron. You see him kind of skew down as everybody eventually is able to catch it, group back together. And we keep it green with now 13 laps to go here at Daytona. And Mike Davenport leads the pack. Looking for his first win in R&R as well. Zachary Lima doing all the pushing. And for Nathan Harper right now in the middle, he's only got help from Dylan Jones. I'm not sure if a lot of people are single filing out or if this outside just can't seem to figure it out, but certainly see that inside line has gotten a lot longer over the course of the last couple laps. On the outside, Jason Maines has not bailed even after that close call. He's still working now with Danny Hansen in that 32 machine. And for Hansen, this may be his debut race. I don't know if we've heard that name before, if he was able to get the job done. What an impressive win that would be, but here we go, pit stops. This will answer that question as we're going to see the first round of them right here. Can they all get in clean? So far, so good. A couple of lockups, a couple of trucks sideways, and ooh, one off. That's James Wagner, who gets into the grass. Wagner with some trouble here, bringing it to his pit box. Let's see what happens here for the 30 truck. Does he have contact, or is it just a really late entry? Oh, it's a really late entry, and he stays pointed straight too long here. When he gets to the point of the pit stops, he has to actually turn. And if you lock up the brakes or you're too hard on the brakes, you really can't turn. Just eventually here, a couple more lockups, sends him into the grass. He gets down, but I believe that will ultimately be a penalty for the 30 of Wagner. So a tough break there. As for everybody else, though, looks like they got on clean without any issue as they all now work their way back out onto the pits. Let's see if we get that second round of stops. Sure enough, we will. Can this group get in just as clean? No, they can't. The 3 truck. Matthew Patton's going to get turned around into the pits. He spins into the grass. Everybody else is going to miss him. Oh, no, now he lets it roll. And, oh, what are you doing? Oh, Matthew Patton lets it roll and just destroys 2 trucks that were not even going to be involved in that. Oh, man, that's going to bring the caution out, but that's a tough, tough break. I forgot who was the other truck that he hit. But that went from an innocent incident to one that ends up taking out a couple of trucks here with damage. Let's watch this. This is bizarre. I can't say I've seen something quite like this in a while. All right, so watch what first starts this here. So you're going to see Matthew Patton here. He's already going to go in a little bit late. He's really bailing off late. And this is always a risky maneuver when you try to pit from the outside, but it is doable. You have the option to do it. The goal is usually to just make sure that you're calling it out, let everybody know. And so you're going to see Patton. He has to bail a little bit later here. As he goes to get down, you see Brock's there. He gets into Brock, and it looks like, I mean, Brock's not really moving. I mean, granted, I know Patton may have needed a little bit of room, but again, he was on the outside here. But Patton's going to get down into Brock Westmoreland. That's going to get the 3 truck loose, sends him around. Brock Westmoreland is forced to miss his pits as a result. He sees the 3 truck sliding up. He says, okay, it's not worth the damage. And so for Brock's sake, he just decides to let it go back out on the racetrack. It goes an extra lap. And for Brock here, that actually works out. And that's because of what happens right here for Patton. This is fine. Right here, this is where you kind of wonder, what were you doing? I mean, he rolls right back into traffic. And I mean, that's a pretty significant hit here for 3 different trucks. First, it's the 8 of Mark Morton, and then the 87 of Herbert. He gets tagged by the 41 of Steele. None of those trucks having anywhere to go, of course. I know some people get upset when we be a little too critical here in the booth, and normally we try to just keep it to what we see, but I mean, it's kind of hard to see past whatever this was here. Watch from the onboard view. It's just, I'm just not really sure. You know, I can think of a couple things here. I don't necessarily want to say it's intentional, right? I don't know if that's what it was, but I just wonder if, did he not realize how close he was to the pit still? Did he think maybe he was further in the grass and thought, you know, he could turn it around and stay in the grass? But instead, he was right by the pits and does not end well. And I mean, you could see the shock here for a couple other drivers who were not expecting this. Watch out for Herbert. Now watch it from the roll bar view. You're going to see here, they see him on the grass. They're thinking to themselves, okay, he's there, he's there, he's there. Oh, and then at that point, there's just nothing you can do. Give one more look at this here from the pit lane cam. And I mean, even when he starts backing up, if he just holds the brakes, nobody gets involved. I mean, you have so many chances right here to minimize this. Instead, brings out a caution. Causes a lot of damage to a couple of good trucks. Either way, though, what's done is done. And we go back live now and set our attention forward as we're going to be getting ready for a pretty late race restart right here. Looks like it'll be about 7 laps to go when we get the green flag. As Daniel Falkingham's being scored as your leader. Chase Mastretta second. And Aviliki third with Cody Nagels in fourth. Steve Korsek rounding out your top 5. And I believe as that sets up, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 as well with Zachary Lima in 7th right now for Nightmare Esports. By the way, a couple other announcements that I did want to make here as we are under caution is that, again, for the PGR 500. And the reason we talk about kind of some of these other series when we're racing in separate series is they've kind of all become correlated to a certain degree. And part of the reason I bring that up is sponsorship is still available for the PGR 500. The title sponsor has already been claimed, and that was by James Wagner. That was for James Wagner's Welding, the official sponsor of this year's PGR 500. So with that sponsorship, he got himself a few things, including a provisional, I believe, and again, I did not triple check this, but from what I saw last time I checked, a provisional to the PGR 500 feature event. The associate sponsor is still up for grabs if anyone's interested. That features, as one of the perks of it, an automatic provisional into the PGR 500 duels, so you're guaranteed up to that point with that sponsor. And then we are still looking for LCQ sponsors. The duels have already been sponsored by VRX, so that will be the VRX duels at Daytona to set up the lineup for the PGR 500. And then, of course, the heat races still up for grabs as well. If anybody's interested in those, feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Michael Triscaro, Matthew Baker. We can get you set up. And if you need any of the Discords, they are in the description for this video, so make sure that you check those out. Still trying to get to 500 subs, by the way. We are getting closer. I think we're at about 460, 461, so only 39 or so away. I think we might be able to get there, as we know recruitment races are going to be kicking off pretty soon as well. Make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for those. Looking forward to that. I think as for that, we've got most of it covered for now. I mean, looking forward to it. Again, it's going to be a $1,750 prize to the winner of that race. By the way, speaking of PGR, tomorrow night, PGR is going to head over back to the Intimidator Super Speedway Series. They will be back to Daytona International Speedway in the next gen. So if you are looking for some practice for the PGR 500 or for the car that we see actually R&R run quite a bit, make sure you check that out tomorrow night. Looking forward to that one as well. All right, so as we go back now full screen, pace truck with the lights off. Going to make the left turn this time. And so again, it will officially be 7 laps to go. For Nightmare Esports, this is going to be trying to control these bottom 2 lines. And for everybody else, they are going to have to find a way to get to the 3rd. Otherwise, they may not be able to have a shot at winning this one. Just not enough time left. Who's going to make that move first? Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 7 laps to go in Daytona. Good restart on the inside for the 88 machine. Good run for Daniel Falkingham so far tonight. He's also been able to keep himself out of trouble. Something that a lot of drivers have had a bit of a hard time with, especially with some of the instances that we had early. Oh, trouble. Now we're going to wreck too hard into the wall. I believe one of them may have been Mark Vondell. It was the 59. More contact. They're still wrecking. Trouble before we even get up to full speed, and now this is going to set us up for a restart, probably with near 3, maybe even an overtime here, probably more so 3 laps to go. Heavy damage for the 59 of Mark Vondell. That truck has certainly seen better days, and actually heavy damage for quite a few drivers. This one turned out to be a whole lot bigger than what it initially looked like it was going to be. So let's see how this one starts. Does Vondell get split here going into the corner? It looks like he does. We'll show you this first from the chopper view and then go to that TV3 view. So that's Danny Hansen in the 32 machine. And watch as they get into the corner here. It's a little bit of a checkup. You see the 9 wiggle a little bit high. Mark's going to follow him just a little bit. And, I don't... That's a weird spot, right? Because I don't think that the 32 of Danny Hansen was actually trying to split Mark. I really don't think he was. I mean, you even saw the fire out of the pipes. It was almost with the way that Mark had to follow Christopher Carter up, with the way the checkup stacked up. It moves the 59 truck up the track enough to where it just kind of puts the 32 in the middle of them. And then right here, Hansen, and again, I'll play at full speed to show you here on the next replay, but he did get out of the throttle here. I don't think he's trying to split Mark Vondell, but at this point, now he's kind of there. He's trying to make a decision on what to do. And as that starts to happen here, does Mark creep back down just a little bit? I think he does. I mean, you see at that point, Mark's above the seam. Danny's got his right sides on the seam. Danny keeps him there, maybe moves down just a little bit, but it's Mark who's just creeping down. I wonder if Mark thought that maybe he was still just clear. But then as they start to wreck, right here's the big hit. Boom. Steve Sizemore, Vondell tagged wall big time. And then Ken McCullough Jr., Brock Westmoreland, multiple others get involved, and they were still wrecking here even as they got off of turn number 2. And here's what that looked like from TV3. Again, Danny Hansen here not trying to spark this issue at all. It's just a checkup at a bad time and then Just trying to figure it out from there. For Vondel, just either trying to get back down in line, didn't quite realize that that Hansen was all the way there, or just didn't quite realize how tight the 3 wide was at the moment. But either way, it's just a tough scenario here for everybody involved in this one late in the race here. You're trying to go for it. And really, I mean, these two and a couple drivers up here were in a good position to go to that 3rd lane, but they never get the chance to now. With this caution. And for Ken McCullough Jr., I'm curious as to what got him turned around. Seemed like he was okay here. He was further back in this wreck. He may have missed it, but then all of a sudden something's going to hook him around. Slow. He's on the bottom. He's on the bottom, trying to shoot the gap. Oh, right there. Just gets clipped by Jason, who was in the wreck and couldn't do anything, obviously. And then it's on from there. I mean, that one's about 5 or 6 trucks with heavy damage. In fact, let's go on board here for Ken McCullough Jr. and show you exactly what it looked like. I was trying to see if we had maybe a little bit of a different view, a couple rows up from this. Brock Westmoreland had definitely a pretty interesting angle on this one, so we'll go to his cockpit view. Now watch what he sees here. Gets into Jones as they start stacking up to avoid it. It's turned around and it's on from there. So another big incident here. At this point, it's starting to become slowly but surely, I guess I'll say, survival of the fittest. If you've got a clean truck, you're going to have a shot at it here. Man, that one collected pretty much the back half of the pack. Man. One more view of this here from the zoomed in shot again. From where it all started here with Hansen and Vondel. And again, nothing Hansen's doing wrong here. This is all just going to kind of start with a bit of a checkup, if you will, between the 9 of Christopher Carter and then Mark Vondel on the bottom. For Vondel right here, starts to follow Chris up. And Hansen never moves. Now Hansen's there. And Vondel's just going to start to slowly creep back down. Creeps back down a little more. And then eventually there's the contact. That ultimately sends that 59 around, sparks the wreck. Leads to, again, another pretty big accident tallying on what we've had here tonight. And I do want to show you the fire out of the pipes for this 32. Because I did mention Hansen was trying everything here to stay off of Mark. And we get it from that view? We do not. All right, so we'll go back to the chopper view. It's kind of interesting. iRacing only likes to show it on certain camera angles. So we'll watch it from the chopper view. This one should show it. Watch the fire here. For the 32. Does it show it? It does not show it on that one. Maybe we won't get to see it here. Certainly know initially for the 32 truck. It showed it, but I guess it's not going to show it to us anymore. All right, well, we'll wrap it up then with that final shot from the chopper cam. Either way, as we go back live now, setting up for what looks like is going to be, yep, a 3-lap to go restart. So it'll be a natural green-white checkered +1. And remember, we have got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. So that is going to be 2 laps under green. And up front, Falkingham Veliky on the front row. Chase Mastretta, Steve Korsak, row 2. With Cody Nagels and Zachary Lima in row 3. You've got the 9 of Christopher Carter, Nathan Harper back in row 4. Looks like rounding out your top 10 right now is Mike Davenport and Nash Brambilla. All right, so 3 laps to go to decide a winner. The R&R Money Madness Racing Series here tonight. Madness Money Racing Series here tonight at Daytona. Can Falkingham find victory lane once again? Or will it be one of the other Nightmare Boys? Or will it be somebody that can make it happen from the 3rd? Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 3 laps to go at Daytona. Good restart for the inside. The outside not organized nearly enough yet. But I don't think they mind that too much because they know certain drivers aren't going to make that move. I don't know. I was thinking if you're Chase here, he may jump up. Nagel's not going to have the opportunity, but Mastretta certainly will if he wants to take it. And he's not going to, at least not yet. Here we go. 3rd lane's going to get working. Watch out, trouble. They're going to wreck again here. Zachary Lima's going to get turned. More trouble as Brian Henning's almost up and over. Ambrose tags the wall. Christopher Carter with another big hit. The 5 is in it. That's Bradley Cooper. Henning's eventually able to come to a halt. Christopher Melton, I think he's okay overall. Knievel took a big shot. There's a couple others involved in this. This was another massive, massive incident. Again, before really they even got up to speed all the way. All right, let's go back and look at it here again, see what happens from the chopper view. That's that last incident. Let's update you here to the most recent one. All right, so here we go. We've got the 4 Lima here in the middle. The outside's pushing. Harper's going to get a run. And something's going to start after this here. So they're going to split to this third lane. It's okay there. But as they go up, it looks like, is Davenport just drifting up a little bit here? Let's see. Let's see how this works here. All right, so from this view, watch Zachary Lima and Davenport. So you've got Lima with his left side tires pretty much on the seam. Davenport trying to push Christopher Carter. Lima's still right around kind of on the seam. Still on the seam. Now Lima starts to move down. Now he's got his right sides on the seam. And at the same time, you've got Davenport working up a little bit. I think for Davenport, he's just trying to follow the 9 of Christopher Carter. And kind of a little bit of what we like to call tunnel vision, where you just get so focused on pushing the truck in front of you that you kind of, I don't want to say lose, but you temporarily do. You temporarily lose a little bit of the awareness of what's on your outside and on your inside. Let's watch from the onboard view here, Davenport. Yeah, I think that's just Davenport trying to follow the 9 of Carter and just gets up just a little too much. And, of course, Lima had just moved back down. But, I mean, I think you got to make the argument, of course, that Lima's still in that outside line. I mean, he's not really encroaching so much on this inside as the inside's doing to the outside. I mean, we can show you it again here from the chopper view, but I think that's really all it was here. And can't really put that one on anybody too much in terms of at least nobody doing anything wrong. It's kind of more of a racing at the end type of deal. But again, right here, if Davenport's up right there, they're okay. But at the same time as he starts to go up, that was right when Lima started to adjust to come down. So it's just, again, kind of a little bit of a wrong place, wrong time type of setup. But then either way, once the wreck starts here, this thing's going to get ugly. Zachary Lima, nowhere to go as Christopher Carter got turned back up the racetrack. Harper, I think, sneaks through. Lima does a little bit of drifting here through the bus stop. He's actually able to save it. He's going to get it back on track without any further incident. One of the bigger parts of this wreck, though, one of them was Brian Hennings. I mean, this truck got massive air. Watch this for Brian Hennings here. Part of the wreck, he's going to get checked up, and then eventually he gets turned around here. Gets tagged by Ambrose, and look at that thing fly. As Ambrose wedges him up in the air, I thought for sure he was going to be going all the way up and over. Eventually does land back down. Makes a couple more hard hits. We're eventually getting that truck back oriented in the right direction. I think he was able to roll out of it. And there's a couple more views. Big hits. A couple really nice job, though, for a couple of drivers. I think Brock Westmoreland caught my eye right there. I think he snuck through this one, which is incredible when you watch how he does it here. Watch this from his cockpit view. I mean, this is a tough way to sneak through a wreck right here. Especially when you see it happen up front. He's going to quickly get on the brakes. Realizes he's not going to be able to check up enough at time. Shoots the gap. Nice job by the 8 of Mark Morton as well to get through that one. So another incident now. By the way, this is going to send us officially to our first overtime attempt. Let's give you one more look at that from the TV3 view. Just continue to eliminate trucks right now. So as we go back live now, this looks like Big Roost says in the chat, who was in that blue truck? Came in like that, Austin. I'm trying to figure out exactly who he's referring to here. Let's see. Back to the chopper view. Let me know if you see it. He said that plowed into, I think it was the 5 truck. You see the 5 truck there further back behind Ambrose Kniebel, kind of top of your screen. Now let's see. Did they miss initially? Ambrose Kniebel's just going to fly right into the back of Christopher Carter. But then, does anyone else get hit here? Where's the 5 truck? They're okay there. That was kind of the end of it. I think it was Ambrose Kniebel that had the biggest hit. I'm not sure if he ever really found the brakes through that one, but either way. So we gear up to get back to green flag racing here. Again, it'll be our first attempt at overtime. I believe we have, it's either 2 or 3. I know it was 2 for these guys for the first couple weeks. I'm not sure if they have adjusted it. Actually, it may be 3 now. So you've got Daniel Falkingham and Landon Velicki being scored as your leaders. Chase Mastretta and Steve Korosek in row 2. Cody Nagels and Mike Davenport back in row number 3. Cody Nagels, what can he make happen here? Zachary Lima still in the mix even after being involved in that last incident. So now becomes kind of a checkers or wreckers mentality. Remember, we've got to make it to the white flag for this race to be official. So that means that we're going to have to run one lap under green right here. We'll see if these guys can make it happen. Either way, it's been a fun race tonight. I know we've had a lot of cautions, but boy, it's been a fun one. Seeing how many people have been tuning in, chatting in the chat. Appreciate everybody hanging out with us here tonight on PGR eSports. All right, time to define who is going to be crowned a winner. Put your money on somebody. Who you got? I think I'm going to go with one of the Nightmare teammates because they've still got these first 2 to 3 rows locked up. But maybe Mike Davenport. Somebody else can play spoiler. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. 2 laps to go at Daytona. Good restart for the inside and the outside. Which lane is going to get lined up quicker? Looks like it's going to be the inside, but Veliky getting some help now from the 27 of Steve Korosek. The backstretch is really going to be a big determining factor. Who is going to jump out to this third lane first? If Davenport goes, will anybody go with him? That's the next question that you got to ask. I think if you're Davenport, you wait till you see somebody else jump up on that third. When they start moving forward, that's when you go. Into turn 3, though, still side by side up front in either lane, moving up or jumping down. They're 2 by 2 actually throughout the entirety of this lead pack right now. As they come off turn 4, they will see the white flag. We're going to make this race official right here and now. 1 lap to go at Daytona. Who's going to get back to the checkered first? Still side by side out of the travel. Some contact further back as they are trying to develop this third lane. Brock Westmoreland leading the charge. He's got Ken McCullough Jr. and a couple of others behind him. And they just don't have enough momentum yet. They're going to need a couple more takers. Will Gambrone go if he gets a chance? Up front, the Nightmare Boys still sitting 2 by 2. Nobody jumps up yet. Watch out. Now they're starting to wiggle in the third. Gambrone looking for some momentum. Now Davenport. No, that's Korosek that's going to jump out of line. Steve Korosek goes 3 wide on his teammate. Final time into turn 3. Here we go. Checkers or wreckers out of turn 4. Who's going to have the better run back to the line? They beat and bang out back. Falkingham looks for the block up top. Gets another push. He'll beat them all back to the line. Veliky tries, but he won't have enough. Daniel Falkingham wins it at Daytona. It's a 1-2-3 finish for Nightmare eSports. Davenport mixes it up, takes 4th. Cody Nagels rounds out the money position. He finishes in 5th. But what a win for Falkingham right there. Dominance on that last restart, and it's another win for the 88, and the fireworks going off in the background here. Get the scoring tower out of the way so you can actually see them. What a win it was for Daniel Falkingham. Wasn't the photo finish, but boy, that was a pretty clean green-white checkered, at least all until we got out of turn 4. Well, chaos broke loose. As he brings it around to burn it down here. We'll get a look at that in just a moment here. Continue to appreciate 500. All right, as the field finishes up, go back down trackside. Falkingham burning it down, celebrating in front of the virtual grandstands as we bring up your results. Again, Daniel Falkingham is your race winner here tonight at Daytona International Speedway. Len Veliky finishes in 2nd, Chase Mastretta 3rd, Mike Davenport 4th. It's going to be Cody Nagels back in 5th with Steve Korosek in 6th. Zachary Luma 7th, Dalton Steele in 8th, Dylan Jones 9th, and Mark Morton rounding out your top 10. Bradley Cooper 11th, Jonathan Herbert 12th, Ken McCullough Jr. 13th, Christopher Carter in 14th, Danny Hansen 15th, Chris Melton 16th, Jason Maines back in 17th with Brock Westmoreland finishing in 18th. Back in 19th here tonight and rounding out the top 20. We can move our grid just a little bit. It's going to be James Wagner and Josh Gambrone. Brian Hennings finishes 21st, Nathan Harper 22nd, Ashburn Villa finishes 23rd with Steve Sizemore 24th, Quentin Steinbach 25th, Ambrose Kniebel in 26th, Edward Fiedler in 27th, Mark Vondell 28th. And rounding out the top 30 is Matthew Patton and Pete Dillon. Teresa Spiker finishes 31st, Jackson Lapino in 32nd. All right, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Before we do, quick reminder to everybody before you head out, make sure you give us a like, a follow if you did enjoy. And if you're interested in getting in on some of these races or any races, check out the Discords we have in the description below. PGR are going to be putting up some recruitment races for entries into the PGR 500. Those will only be a couple of dollars to enter, $2-3 max, so make sure you check those out. All right, we're going to go grab your top 3, including your race winner. Stay with us. We'll be right back at Daytona. All right, welcome back to Daytona International Speedway. We're going to go ahead and kick things off first here tonight with your race winner. For Nightmare Esports, it's Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, boys. How we doing?
Good. Well, man, you grabbed the race win here tonight in pretty dominant fashion. And, boy, first of all, I mean, that had to be a different feel. You had 4 to 6 teammates lined up there at the end. I mean, were you guys pretty much feeling set going into that final green-white checkered?
We definitely felt very comfortable having all of us up there, but thankfully we wouldn't have been up there if it wasn't for that caution flag in the middle of the final green flag pit stops. We all decided to pit early so we didn't have to come back before a caution flag if there was a caution to fly. And thankfully, with how the caution played out, with how timing scoring played out, that got all of us up there in the spots to allow us to go race and see if we can get in all those money spots. So I think we got 5 of the 6 right there, or 4 of the 5, like however many got paid out. But no, definitely, we definitely didn't plan that, but it's crazy how it all works out in the end. But glad we could get all of us up there. Glad a lot of us got up there, got good finishes. I know a few of us got wrecked early on in the race, but everyone was up there at the end when it mattered. So we'll take it, and yeah, definitely, it was definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch as well. And I mean, these trucks, we saw a couple recent updates here to iRacing. Maybe a couple small changes to the trucks. Have you noticed anything different? And what'd you make of the racing we had here tonight with them?
Really, the only biggest difference that I felt is update with the damage model, where if you completely break a wheel off your truck, then you are done for the race immediately. So, especially in these races when you have 0 fast repairs, it's that kind of stuff you got to watch out for. I mean, I really haven't tested the full-on damage model to see, like, if you get a lot of damage, can you fix it and you get back to 100%? I'm not sure about that, but clearly with Chase, who got killed early on in the race, he was right there at the end. So probably really the only big difference is if you break a wheel, you can't fix it anymore. That's really the only big thing. So, but yeah, really not a lot of changes that I noticed. From what I can still push normally. I can still be very aggressive in the pushing. You can still control the lanes as normally, trying to manage temps and all that. So not too much of a difference. So definitely don't think it affected the racing too much.
Absolutely. Well, hey, Daniel, we appreciate you talking to us. So before we let you head out here tonight to go celebrate the winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just got to thank you for broadcasting. Thanks to Dougie for putting all these races on. Thanks to the Nightmare Boys for all the help, as always. I appreciate working with them. They love working with me. So appreciate having people to work with in these kind of races, because we know how hectic they can get. Thanks to everyone who races every week to come out and shows their support for everyone for all the money racing that goes on across the week. And yeah, shout out to everyone who watched. Shout out to you again for the stream, for broadcasting, and yeah, that's about it. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Daniel, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on that race win, and we will see you hopefully again next week.
All right, thank you, Austin.
All right, now that's going to bring us to your second place finisher here tonight. Another Nightmare Esports drivers, they did sweep the podium. That is Landon Veliky. Landon, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you bring home a second place finish here tonight. You come up just a spot short, but I think there was probably a pretty mutual agreement to work together there at the end. Were you hoping to be able to push Falkingham there to the win?
No, I wanted to win it myself, and I was hoping. I kind of hated it when Steve went up third right there going into 3, because I knew like Davenport had a gap to me, and I was just going to lose time, and Dan was probably going to hop up, which he kind of hesitated on. I was like, oh, I have a chance, but then he went back down. I was cooked. But you know what? Like, we were 1st through 6th at one point, and I'll be honest, I was complaining about doing that early pit because it seems like it never, ever works out for us. And that was a situation I was like, wow, we just got absolutely screwed, but we got so lucky with iRacing, for some reason, giving our spots back, I guess, since I guess everyone was in the pits, and that's how we ended up 1st through 6th. And from there, it was just basically stay where you are and don't do anything stupid.
Absolutely, and bringing home that second place finish is going to come along with a pretty good payday tonight as well. Wasn't too chaotic for you, of course, especially there at the end. Again, you kind of had a little bit of a, I don't want to say relaxed ending, but again, it's always got to feel easier when you have some teammates around you there to finish things off. So before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Oh, yeah, Dan, Cody, Chase, Steve, Zach. I don't think I'm forgetting anybody. Vince was in there. He was moral support for us tonight. He was running an OP race. Just thanks to the team. Obviously, I mean, you know, that I'm not trying to talk no trash, but like that was like too easy at the. I mean, I don't know what was going on, but it was just a good night for us. I think we're all pretty locked in, and I definitely enjoyed it. Thanks to you for broadcasting. Thanks to PGR, R&R for kind of combining their two leagues and putting this on. I finally got another podium, another interview with you, Austin. I look forward to that every night, but I haven't been able to get that too often recently. But, it's all good. Thanks to just anyone involved, and appreciate the fun.
Absolutely. Well, Landon, we appreciate you talking to us. Congrats on the second place finish. And we will see you, if not next week, we'll see you on Monday for the PGR Light Series.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. And now that's going to bring us up to your final podium finisher of the night. And that is Chase Mastretta. Let's see if we can get him up here. Hey, Chase, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. Well, man, you bring home a third place finish. You're part of the dominant performance by Nightmare Esports here tonight. How'd you feel about your race overall? I mean, you got damaged there early, thought it was going to take you out of any competitive chance. Next thing you know, here you are, finished at third place and taking home a good payday.
Man, I got 5 minutes of damage, and I had about 3 minutes and 50 seconds left when we went back green. I was 10 seconds away from being lapped down and would have lost probably all my chance, and I most likely would have just disconnected from the race. But somehow they just kept wrecking in front of me, got all the damage fixed. Somehow got linked up with Landon later in the race. We were working good on the bottom. We had the strategy to get everybody down and pit. It almost really backfired on us when they wrecked, but luckily we got the cycle to the front of the pack. I mean, we had every single one of us lined up, and there was nothing really anybody could do, especially with them wrecking behind us every lap. So we just went caution until the green-white checkered. There was nothing really they could do. I mean, we were all lined up. We got 6 of the top 7. So I'll take it.
Absolutely. And Chase, I know that throughout some of the different Discords, there's been a lot of talk between you and a lot of the other drivers over the last couple of days. But I mean, when you go out and put on a performance like this, you got to feel pretty good about it.
The wheelbarrow is full right now.
All right. Well, we appreciate you talking to us, Chase. So before we let you head out, enjoy the winnings. Is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Shout out Nightmare. Shout out Dan, Cody, Landon, Steve, Lima, everybody. Thanks to all the boys.
And again, Chase, thanks for talking to us. Congrats on that third place finish. And hopefully we will see you again next week. You as well. All right. Now that is going to just about wrap things up before we go. Josh Gambron, let us know. Maybe we should take a little bit of a look at that last wreck. Coming out of turn 4. Let's see here. If that's the wreck he was talking about, I assume. Can try to go back and look at it here real quick before we finish things up here for the night. This was coming to the checkered flag when all that chaos broke loose here. Watch it from TV3. Out back here, do they wreck? Yes, they do. There goes Gambron. So first truck finally goes up and over, and he's going to go into the catch fence as well. That was brutal for Josh Gambron. It had been a while here, too, tonight. We saw a lot of wrecks, but nobody ever actually made it all the way into the catch fence. You see the 32 way up in the air. I think he goes into the catch fence as well. A massive, massive stack up out back here to finish things off. Give you one more view of this here from the zoomed-in view. Watch some of these trucks take flight further in the background. There goes the 49, and here goes the 32. This one, wild, wild flips. Chaotic finish. But at the end of the day, the man that led them all to it is Daniel Falkingham. Didn't have to worry about it because he is your race winner here tonight. All right, as always, I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. None says, PGR, I love this. Think it's great what you guys are doing. Can't wait to get in on some of this and race with you guys. Yep, we hope to see you in there. We appreciate you tuning in, along with everybody else that watched here tonight. That'll wrap things up on my end. And so that's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. Until next time, have a good night.